Well, first, welcome, Senator Nelson. May I call you that? But I want to follow up on Senator Heinrich's. He asked you a very specific question. Are you going to build in resources so that we can keep operating EPSCoR in New Mexico and Rhode Island and not close the offices in August?
The EPSCoR program, Senator, is about capacity building. It is about exactly that. So the two flavors that we have are EPSCoR and ERISE. This was based on a congressional report that was submitted by our Committee of Equal Opportunity. It's a congressional report-based recommendation. The two programs, I just want to be very clear. One of them is capacity building, continuing to have that kind of a support for being able to have EPSCoR successes. The other ERISE is about the state S&T plans and how we might then have groups incubated to expand the science and technology capabilities of the region also. So that's what these two flavors are, and the fellowships are focused on individuals. So all three are meant not to close down, but to expand and enhance. So I just want to make sure that it's not misunderstood.
So you've not answered Senator Heinrich's question, you've not answered my question. Are you going to make provisions so that the EPSCoR offices will not be forced to be closed in August or so in
That is a
Mexico
transition.
and Rhode Island and several other places?
Yeah.
This, your rollout has not been successful, to be blunt, because we're seeing now EPSCoR programs evaporate in the very states that we place them in, because we don't want every nickel from NSF going to MIT and Stanford and all the other big research institutions.
It is not happening, Senator, with all due respect. In fact, when I talk about the EPSCoR percentages increasing, it doesn't go to MIT. It in fact goes, we can in fact share all the
That's because we wrote it, et cetera, and you're eroding that base. When our office has to shut down in New Mexico or Rhode Island, then the all the mechanisms to apply for EPSCoR, to engage in EPSCoR are essentially gone.
You have my word, Senator, that we will work with you. You said I have not answered the question. I'm answering the question, that we will work with the states. In fact, yesterday I had a conversation with one.
I know you did, and it appeared to me as just telling them how screwed up they were, which is not what I expect a federal agency to do to my state.
No, it was not. I think the specifications that we had about how the proposal should be submitted was not followed, and we are trying to see how we can get that done. And as I said, I will make sure that we will not back away from building the capacity in the EPSCoR states. And that's, and to specifically, you're saying I'm not answering the question. I will go back and look at what the transition funding for those offices to continue operating so that we might not lose this bridge. And I'm giving you that.
Let me go back to another question is, how did you help these states to prepare for the new EPSCoR? Because the results are less than encouraging. I mean, we have a lot more time spending on administration, figuring out the programs, what's new, what's not, and that's taking away from some of the substantive issues that you have to deal with in EPSCoR. And I just don't see an improvement here at all.
So you asked about the help that we are providing. We, in fact, have launched a new program called Granted, which is focused on helping those states to be successful by providing all the information that they need in terms of putting successful grant proposals together. So, in fact, even as of yesterday, we are having constant conversations, and people, I'm sure in your state will acknowledge the fact that we are having those conversations to see how we can build this capacity and have those successful proposals constructed.
Well, from our perspective, what we're seeing is these new awards are for less money and for shorter periods of time, and fewer applications seem to be successful, which to me is not an indication of a program that's being well run.
I'm happy to share the details of the program. You will see that it is about ultimately getting to have a lot more investments in EPSCoR jurisdictions, because if you're going to follow the percentages of EPSCoR allocations, clearly you can see as the budget scales, we have already increased it to 15.9, and if you're going to 20%, it is going to be more investments in EPSCoR states, not in non-EPSCoR states or the institutions that you mentioned. It is not about that. It is, in fact, increasing the investments. So it is not going to be about taking away from anything in EPSCoR for anything outside of EPSCoR.
Well,
as I said, I'm happy to have further conversations. with your staff, with you, and share data to make sure that you feel that this is not something that is minimizing or marginalizing in any way the EPSCoR focus.
Well, Director, we'll have those discussions, but I'd like to see the results in the field, not discussions over a conference table in Washington or a phone call to Rhode Island. Thank you.